Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know him, this is rapper Screwface Jean. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. First of all, I want to say I'm super, super honored. Been a fan and a subscriber for longer than I've been doing YouTube myself. So
And
this is
I
a
know
big
on,
moment.
on Twitter we've been following each other for a while too.
Yeah. I remember the day you followed me. I tweeted out and stuff. It was a big moment for me. So yeah.
But his work came back into frame for me because on social media I ran into a diss track that he had done against a certain individual whose work I had made a video about. You guys might remember. You might have seen the very special cringing to death to mumble rap video.
Classic.
Might have seen that video. In that video, I painstakingly go over the artistry and the genius of who is Luke Gone, right there. Who, I mean, obviously top 10 rapper of all time. And he raps really fast.
Oh yeah.
Hear his stuff, he raps very fast.
Yeah.
And,
He saved hip hop too, if you didn't know.
But from what I understand, with your diss track toward him, you have an issue with him. Now, of course, I have an issue with that. I'm white. I only like rappers who rap fast. So if you're not rapping fast, I don't listen to you. And I've heard his music. I've heard your music. And he seems to put if the point of rap, excuse me if I'm ignorant here. If the point of rap is words, it's like he puts a lot more words than a lot of rappers in his songs.
Yeah, well, mathematically.
So if he's doing the most words, then what's wrong with his music? Why do you take issue with that? Why do you do a diss if he's doing the most words? Why not diss a rapper who does less words?
Well, see, my issue started off actually because when when he dropped the Death to Mumble Rap or whatever, I had just tweeted out or something about those super cringy and stuff like that. And I wasn't the only one. There's a lot of people because I always had an issue with that stance because it's really like regressive and stuff like that. And it was always like a thing. The thing with being like a YouTube rapper is that's like the stigma that we have. But it was always kind of like more like hush hush, more like just a stereotype people put on us. But then once they made Death to Mumble Rap, that's when I was like, okay, now I looked at it almost like the same way as like just you fulfill the stereotype. So now I have to make sure people know that no, I'm not on that side where it's just about the amount of words you put into the thing. It's about what you're saying. So he dissed me on a song, on his World War III song, Out of Nowhere. He dissed me, but so I responded back to him, and I was basically just responding about how like what you were saying. The whole thing is he's obsessed with the speed and how he's doing the music, and there's like a group of people who think that they don't know what is being said. They don't know, because if they hear it the first time and you stopped and said, "What did he just say?" They'd have no idea. But for some reason, they're just trained to think it's good. But say like it's like Uzi. Like if their problem is you can't hear it, like, and that's the problem, it becomes only a problem when it's Playboy Cardi, Uzi, or somebody like that, and they can't hear it. Then it's garbage. But when they can't hear that, like flippity flippity, then it's good. So I just rose the question like, why is that? And the internet kind of really answered back like, yeah, why is that? Why is that such a different thing? But I've always had such an issue with that too, because I'm a YouTube rapper. Like that's what I like. I make music outside of YouTube, and I was doing music before YouTube, but that is what I am. So, but my whole thing was we can be more than what our stereotype was, but it just looked like that's not what a lot of the community wanted to be. The community wants to be the stereotype. They want it to be death to this guy. I want to kill Little Pump if I see him because he's rapping this way. But they're also like the softest people on planet Earth. Like they would never do anything if Little Pump walked up to him. It's just it's a lot of stuff, like a lot of thoughts that I've been rattling in my head for a long time. So I just finally got the chance to come out and say it and stuff like that. So sorry if it comes off like I'm rambling a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into the next sort of portion of your beef with Luke in a second, because you made your track to him, and we'll get into the response, or sort of where it's kind of developed from there. But I'm sort of picking out a bit of an inconsistency, a fallacy in your logic there, because obviously when you're talking about Playboi Carti, or you're talking about Lil Uzi Vert, and you can't understand their music, it's sort of like you can't understand it because it's really lazy, and they're like, you know, kind of slurring, and it's like blah 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 blah. Whereas like Luke, he's worked very hard to sound incoherent. He's trying to rap as much as possible, so that you don't understand. There's a lot of effort being put into him being difficult to understand. So because he's trying so hard, it's not like he's taking the easy route to be difficult to be difficult to be understood. You know, he's going the hard route. He's putting it on, like, you know, God mode, to be completely, you know, unable to be listened to, and I think that's admirable.
The funniest part about that to me, though, is when you do break down, like, look on a piece of paper, what they're saying, it is the same lyrical content. You're at the end of the 16 bars, you're at the same place. Just someone like Luke chooses to use 300 words to basically at the end of it say, I'm a good rapper. That's basically what every one of those 16 bars where it's a million words ends up. You don't learn anything more about the person. You don't learn about what he feels. You're not like, oh, I never thought of that thing like that. The furthest they'll go, they're being deep, is saying, why is it that the industry likes these people but doesn't like us? So that's like being deep to them. So it's just like, it is a fallacy at the end of the day, because you are saying the same amount of stuff. It's just that one is choosing to say it in 100 words, one is saying it in 300 words, but it's the same content. It's the same thing, really.
Okay, so since you're very a quality diss track toward Luke, surely, given that he is the one of the fastest rappers alive, he was very brave and stood up to you, and he threw like 5 disses back at you, and you guys are still at it, right? Is that where it's progressed past this point?
Nah, what happened was actually he dissed me, I dissed him back. He disses me back like a few hours later, super rushed, super sloppy. Like his own fans were like, "This is sloppy," and then he blocked me on Twitter, on Instagram, blocked everybody else he dissed on it, and then dropped another diss track, maybe thinking that so he can literally throw a rock and hide his hand. So like, yeah, I'm gonna say this and then put my head in the sand, and whatever happens, I don't see it. So at the end of that, I just started laughing. I was like, bro, I can't take this serious. And if this was like a battle, like if we were in like a battle, it would be the equivalent of each of us doing a round, and on the third, he runs away and then does it from the parking lot. It's like, you gave up. Like, you can't block somebody in a battle. What is that saying? That's like, you have to at least pretend like you're not scared, or like pretend like you don't care about the repercussions of your actions. That's what you say in your lyrics. Like, you can't then block me. Like, that's so you don't get to see. You don't get to see what I say back. That's like, I guess it is what it is. That's the new way of battling, I guess. So I guess in his eyes, that's a win. If I can't respond at all, then technically he won, because he doesn't see it. So if he doesn't see it, it didn't happen. So then he won. Basically.
That sounds like flawless logic to me. That's like pulling both of your hands behind your back, and then after that you can't do anything. You lose because you weren't smart enough to do it to him first. So check.
Yeah. Beat me to the block button. He beat me to the block button. Yeah. Beat me to the block. And I also do want to say, though, because people get it twisted a lot too, because there's a difference between just rapping fast for the sake of rapping fast and somebody who raps fast but has a lot of content in what they're saying. Kendrick Lamar in Good Kid, Mad City, that's a fast verse. But whether or not you slowed it down or sped it up, what he's saying has potency behind it. If Pirates of Crips, let me take you down the trip, down memory lane. Like, it's a story. People like Tech Nine. Tech Nine is somebody that I'm actually pretty close with. Tech Nine is a chopper because a lot of people, when I said that too, a lot of his fans came up like, oh, how can you say that? But then you rap with Tech Nine. And it's like, well, Tech Nine, to somebody who doesn't listen to a lot of different hip hop, I can see how you don't see that. But Tech Nine plays with cadences. There's a difference between playing with just speed, like no matter what the pocket is, no matter what the beat is, no matter where the hi-hatter is, you go at the same thing. Just you're trying to get to the end of the block as fast as you can. And there's a difference between playing with the cadences. I say it more like Tech and Kendrick and those people know where to not say something. That's the difference. They know where to. It's more like a drum. It's more like it has different nuances. It's not just for 16 bars. Next song. That's all that is. So I mean, that's the difference before anybody gets to Tech Nine. That's a complete difference.
Also in Tech Nine's defense, even though he is capable and does do speedy tracks like that, he is also capable of doing slower, more topical tracks too, which he does do. So he's a pretty versatile artist. I mean, I don't
very much so.
Stuff, but I know he doesn't do the same thing all the time. He doesn't sort of pride himself on only kind of driving in one gear as he's making his albums.
Just redlining the whole time till you blow the engine. Like that's the equivalency. Just hitting the gas to the throttle. Make sure that the person's ear just doesn't catch anything. Then it's a good verse. Because if you catch anything, they're like, no. Go back, throw 3 more words in that line. Doesn't matter if it's off cadence or anything. Just throw more words. They can hear it. Throw more words.
Something that is sort of a common artistic thread with a lot of these supposed lyrical miracle rappers is Eminem. But I know you yourself, you're someone who values lyricism, and you're somebody who obviously appreciates Eminem's work as well. You recently came out with that Slime Shady project where you weren't necessarily just doing freestyles or covers, but more like some original work that was inspired by like some of his classic stuff. So like obviously you're somebody who values his artistry and values like some of the best stuff that he's done over the years. Like where are people picking up Eminem's music, deciding they want to rap, and then from there going wrong? Like what are they missing in the recipe when they decide to record their own music? Like what two or three
I'm glad you asked that. Hold on, we buffering here, I think.
Yeah, we'll give it a second.
Oh, okay, I'm back. Back. Okay, yeah, no, I got what you said. Basically, where do they mess up with the M thing?
Yeah. Like, what is it in Eminem's music that they're either missing, or what are the 2 or 3 things in his music they're obsessing over that they can't let go of or get away from? Because it's not just the fast rapping. Like, a lot of them also have to adhere to maybe at least a little bit of edginess. Some of them also have to almost like approach their music in a very combative way, where the only purpose it seems to serve is like, this is going to save the hip hop. This is going to save the hip hop game. I'm going to save hip hop. It's like their entire music is a fucking RPG, and like the moment they decided to start, and every word they throw out there is just like they're racking up experience points, and it's like they're hoping by the end of it, like hip hop is just fucking saved.
Yeah. Well, basically, I feel like people picked up on a part of Eminem's career and kind of missed out on another part. Because I even feel like to a point, Eminem kind of lost his way. And M even says it. M even says there's times where he felt like he wasn't himself like he used to be. Now, when you think of like this, the Slim Shady EP, the Martian Mathers LP, or LP or EP, I always flip over those ones, the Eminem Show, stuff like that. There is an actual edge that Eminem had. There was an actual chip that was on Eminem's shoulder, being one of the first predominant white rappers, because there was an actual real backlash. I think the problem is now a lot of them try to encapsulate that, but it's not the same time. There isn't the same backlash. It's not as crazy. It's just like, you see it all the time now. So they have to pretend like there's this big monster that they're battling because they see that it worked for M. But like, that's one thing they're missing, is that the actual edge, the actual fight that M had. Another thing that they're missing is that I think it's a genuine love for hip hop. As weird as it sounds, even though they are always the people that push the most, we love hip hop, we do it for hip hop. I think they're even more superficial when you talk to certain people like that. Their reasonings are more superficial than somebody you would think that would just listen to like for some, okay, they'll make fun of like a Gucci Mane fan. They'll be like, that's not hip hop. And then you'll ask a Gucci Mane fan, why do you listen to Gucci? He said, because I've been through these things. He's talking about the neighborhoods I come from. These are struggles I see every day. And this actually touches me to a level. You talk to some of these people, it doesn't go past just the lyrics on the paper. It doesn't hit them on a level. So to me, that's way more superficial. It's almost more like they wait to somebody tell them like, this is what you're supposed to like because it's at this rate, and then they do it. Eminem is a genuine hip hop head. You can tell that, and almost to a detriment. But I think that these people, because I've asked even the people I've battled before, some of the people that I'm cool with, when they started listening to hip hop, and it was literally on like recovery, like, because some of these people are that young where it's that, and that Eminem is not really. A lot of people think Rap God is Eminem. Rap God to me isn't Eminem. Rap God is something Eminem does, but I think even Eminem started thinking that he was Rap God. Eminem to me wasn't even a fast rapper technically to me before Rap God. Like, he could rap fast, but he was just more about what he was saying, cleaning out my closet, stuff like that. But Rap God was an experiment, and I think it spawned a bunch of people from that experiment who think that that is a genre of music.
Love everything you're saying. To be more genuine and be less trolly now.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say, as somebody who's a bit older and was listening to the Slim Shady LP when I was in 8th grade, and enjoying it, and then going on to enjoy the stuff that he put out, Marshall Mathers and all that shit. When I was a kid, and look, there was a lot of hip hop music that I already liked before I got into Eminem. That I just got turned on to from MTV, and that I just got turned on to from the radio because you know, and I'm on the East Coast, and you know, they're playing a lot of boom bap shit on the radio, and a lot of the bigger West Coast acts like Dr. Dre and Tupac and so on and so forth. And while Eminem, sure, he was like a very fast and pointed rapper. When I was listening to his stuff and enjoying his stuff, I just loved it more for how dark it was. And just like, I don't know, as a kid, as a young boy who was, you know, exposed to a lot of media that is bloody and gory and cartoony and sick and twisted. Like, I love Beavis and Butthead and a lot of the weird liquid television animations from back in the day. Like, I don't know, Eminem's music just seemed like kind of a dark personal extension of that for me personally in a lot of ways. And I wasn't like, he's rapping the fastest, you know?
Yeah.
I just kind of liked how dark and weird it was. And also just like being a young, stupid fucking kid from a suburban area, you know, you relate to some of the dumb bullying stories that he would tell, like, you know, kids getting fucking smashed in the lockers or whatever. That was his struggle. That was, you know, what he came up through as he was growing up and everything. And also, you know, it's, the fact that he was kind of rapping about a lot of broken home stuff as well, but it's true what you say about, like, yeah, at the time it was novel, and it was and it did cause like a lot of pushback for Eminem to, as a white rapper, be in the position that he was, be doing as well as he was, getting the Dr. Dre co-sign, like getting all of this incredible legitimacy that white rappers who were popular before him didn't necessarily have. Like, you know, somebody like Vanilla Ice might have had a hit. He might have been doing numbers, but like he didn't have that sort of like internal, like community kind of credibility that he was getting from some people that Eminem, you know, was in terms of status and everything. Yeah. And I feel like some people who have taken inspiration from him haven't realized that narrative on his old records is old. That's like the past. Like, you can't adopt that narrative for now because that's not the current paradigm.
Yeah.
You can't enter your record, inspired by one of the best-selling rappers, probably the best-selling rapper of all time currently.
Yeah.
And say, like, yeah, man, it's people are just looking at me. They can't believe a white boy spit.
It's not crazy anymore. And they're still trying to act like it is. That's like one of my favorite reactions that you did was Tom McDonald's White Boy, and like what you were saying, and that was so true. Where it's just like these things that you're bringing up is like, these are not like shocking, like, whoa, white people rap. What's going on? Like it's no longer what it is, and it's not even like, because even then we'll be like, it's not about a race thing, and it's not even a race thing. I mean that the enemy becomes what is anti-rap. What is anti-rap? The reason why I say it's the white thing is because when Eminem was doing it, it was a real thing because he was an anomaly at the time. But now it's like since they can't be like, you guys don't like me because I'm white. It's more like, you don't like me because I'm actual hip hop, and this isn't actual hip hop, which is also a very toxic conversation piece with that actual hip hop stuff that happens anyway. And I find it.
Talk about that because you kind of made that point earlier about them not necessarily being hip hop heads in the sense that they can't appreciate what Gucci Mane is doing in a song simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you can't get into Gucci Mane, because I'm not the biggest Gucci Mane fan.
Me neither, yeah.
Maybe aesthetically or lyrically, he doesn't do for you the types of things other rappers might do. Simultaneously, these same rappers, these same artists, I doubt many of them have a KRS-One record or like a Talib Kweli record in their collection or whatever. Like, how much Talib have you listened to? How much Mos Def have you listened to? If like the lyrics, the substance are what matters, and you're all about hip hop, like what about these artists who obviously display quite a bit of lyricism? Like,
it's so true, bro. Because, and here's the thing too, on the side of things that I inhabit, like YouTube is weird because if you do niches and stuff, you tend to stay in that thing. In the side that I stay in, some of the things that it's dope to talk to someone like you because you're more just broad and out there, and you don't really. These are literally like controversial takes. Like I've said these things before, and people be like, "He's racist." Like literally have called me racist because I've said things like this where it's like, wait, why is it that you guys seem to only want me to like react or review one? It's not even like one genre of music. It's what, like, nobody questions that, like nobody. And then why is it when I question that, that's a problem, but nobody has ever said it's a problem when I do all this stuff? And I'm like, I don't have a problem with anything, especially now because my YouTube is a lot more diverse because I've done a lot more other stuff and started to branch out outside of the whole thing. But like you said, it's not really about saving hip hop. It's about I don't even know. It's like a group of people that you have to protect. And once they get, it's basically if Eminem co-signs somebody, and I'm a huge Eminem fan, like not of like his newest stuff, but I'm like a big Eminem fan. But it's like they wait for Eminem to co-sign somebody, then they say he's okay. Because it's like Boogie. Like, I don't think a lot of the people which is great because obviously that's what happens when you get big, but Boogie has always been a great artist, and I feel like some of these people would have never gave him a shot in the dark with the same songs without the cosign, which some people are going to hear that and be like, I mean, what's the problem with that? But the problem is that you wouldn't like it. I don't think you would like it if it wasn't co-signed the way it was co-signed. And that's my problem is, are we listening to the music, or are we seeing something else that is making us consume it in a different way? And it's like, it's more of a identity thing than it is a consumption of an art thing. It's more like I like a message, not a genre of music. And that's, if that makes sense, basically.
No, it does. And I think as an artist, like, especially when it comes to hip hop, and look, no genre of music or culture that surrounds it is like perfect or whatever. But the moment that you create music through some kind of means to, like I was saying earlier, to save that genre, it's like you've almost kind of failed, especially at this point in hip hop's trajectory, where like maybe at one point where the genre stylistically was a lot more homogenized, that narrative and that message maybe kind of made sense, where you had guys that generally across the board valued a little bit more lyricism, and other guys that just wanted to make club shit. And even back in the day, like dudes like Chuck D didn't have that much animosity broadly toward anybody who was making those kinds of records. He had done talks and done speeches back in the day talking about, like, look, we just want equal time. It's like, I love ass shaking records, but like, give us the ability to actually do something musically like that actually speaks to people as well. Don't just like make hip hop radio stations and all this other shit about, like, the poppiest, most commercialized version of the art form that you can sort of throw out into the airwaves 24/7. But having said that, now hip hop is just so varied and just so multi-layered, and you have people who are just like diehard Playboi Carti fans. You have people who are like diehard Danny Brown fans, and you have industrial like hip hop. You have like people who are still doing the jazz rap throwback '90s shit. As you're talking about, you're operating in this totally different, almost YouTube-based scene where you have all these lyrical miracle fucking dudes who get off on shit like that. Lyrical rapper versus mumble rapper, 13 million fucking views, video where you go into the comments and it's like, like, who the fuck are these people? They all have like Punisher avatars, and it's like, finally someone's saying some real fucking shit. And it's like where do you come from? It's like, where are you the rest of the 24 hours of the day?
The thing that kills me too is what I keep trying to push the most is saying that I don't think you guys understand, and I'm saying like the fans, like the people who hate on like the mumble rap, you guys are creating an environment that is starting to become a dictatorship. It's starting to become like rallies. It's starting to not even be music anymore. It's not even like, it's like, do you fit the club? Okay, come in. That's it. It's not even like, what are you saying? And I feel like they think that they're saving something, but you're not. You're destroying it, and you're making it smaller and smaller, because they also cannibalize each other. It's not just like they just cannibalize it. Eventually, then they start being like, oh, you did this? Well, you're not hip hop enough. Cannibalized. And then it just keeps getting smaller and smaller. It's like, this is not how something grows. This is not how something thrives. When have you ever seen, why is it that you have like just in your soul to come to something, drop your luggage and say, all right, this is who can and can't do this? Like, what has this become? Because how can you hate on the industry and be like, oh, they don't let us in. The industry's so fake. They only let one kind of music in. Oh, they just look this way. If you got tattoos and dreads and you're going to make it. But then it's like, you don't see how you've become that same exact thing. If you have a gray hoodie or a black hoodie and a gold chain and you bob your head and you rap fast, how is this not the same? We've become that. And it's only one type of music that goes here. You hate everything else, and you make it impossible for somebody else to come. So we've become that. It's. I don't see how people don't see that.
Yeah, it's its own type of stereotype. Meanwhile, like none of these people are even vaguely fucking aware of like who a Tierra Whack is.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she is so skilled, so lyrical, has such a strong style, and so much talent, but like that would not even fucking compute. You know what I mean? I've
never got one of them to be like, you know what? Let me just shout out Rhapsody real quick. Let me just give her the props she deserves. Like, that's why I'm like, hold the mirror up to yourself and be like, I'm wearing a uniform. I don't believe any of the shit I'm saying. And this is not because I love this genre of music. This is because I'm using this as a weapon to be like, see? But the thing that's also a fallacy, too, that I always say to people is, are you guys actually checking the charts? Because the highest selling people are the people who have lyrical content. It's always been that way. The Drakes, the J. Coles, the Kendrick Lamars will always outsell the Little Pumps, the Young Thugs. Like, those people sell well too, but what is this? That's not even the top of hip hop. That's not the people who Jay-Z is gonna, when he drops an album, hip hop stops and pays attention. That doesn't always happen when, like somebody that they would say is a mumble rapper would drop that. So I don't, just like they bring more attention to it than is brought to it anyway. They spend more time talking about that than they do the fact that Lil Wayne is a lyrical rapper. Lil Wayne does well when he drops. When Lil Wayne dropped his last project, I saw more of them complaining about the same things they're complaining about them pushing a Lil Wayne. Like, that's the things I don't understand too. It's like, who are these people that are going super double, triple platinum on their albums, not their singles that they're stream farming to go these things, their albums. These people aren't going platinum on their albums. They're not even going platinum.
But yeah, I think that mindset comes from a lack of a broad view of hip hop. And if your primary exposure to it is like through Eminem and through viral YouTube videos, like, I don't know, I guess you'll get pissed thinking those are basically the two sides of the genre. And you're either like an Eminem disciple, or you're a fast rapper, or you're a Lil Pump. And, it's gotta be one or the other. And that's sort of like the constant struggle. Which is funny at this point, because Lil Pump is really like on a downward trajectory of relevance as of right now. Like, his last album did not hit, and his debut tape, like any singles off of that tape are just like, kind of old news at this point. Like, Lil Pump is not a super hot commodity. To be dissing Lil Pump endlessly right now in 2020 or even 2019 sort of seems like, like you're kind of out of touch.
And then my thing too is it would be one thing if these were the people who are dissing these people, and then like when they see like really like but these are the same people who will diss somebody and then not realize it's like, some of these people, I don't know if you just think you'll never run into them, because I've been doing music a while before I did YouTube, and I've had some real live situations before. So I know where this can go, because certain people are not going to take this like 8 Mile. This is an 8 Mile to everybody. So when you disrespect someone or say death to them or say that you wanted, they take it a different way. So when you see them, you have to why are you bringing that energy your way? And I don't even think they understand what they're doing by doing that stuff, because it's like the same situation with like the Dax and Tory Lanez situation, where Dax was looking at it more like a YouTuber and Tory was looking at it more like a street rapper. Wasn't really looking to battle, it was looking to be. And then when that physical altercation happened, no matter how you look at it or how you feel about it, the YouTube community acted a certain way. And my thing was, just don't bring energy you're not ready for. Like, not everybody looks at this stuff as viral moments. Not everybody looks at this like, oh, I get what you're trying to do. This is for your SEO because this is a bad month on YouTube, so you need something for your algorithm. Not everybody looks at it like that or even understand or comprehends it that far. And I always tell those people, like, you're going to want to be more inclusive because, for lack of a better word, you guys are the softest people I know. So just be as inclusive as possible, because you don't want problems that you brought on because you thought it was rap, basically.
Well, also with a lot of modern inter-industry beefs, like there are a lot of record deal dollars at stake. There are a lot of behind the scenes people who all know each other. And, even in the Drake Pusha T thing, there was like a lot of behind the scenes, like, hey, let's like maybe not so much. This could be really bad, this, that, and the other thing. Like, if you decide as a YouTube rapper, because you've got like 1 million subscribers, to start like fucking, going at whoever rapper that you think sucks, you have no connections to that world. And like you said, like, things could get really hot really fast if you don't have the means to kind of pump the brakes on things once you've ignited that fire.
When I started rapping, I started in the era where, because the internet, because I'm 28, right? And the internet, because I was always rapping during the internet, but not where everybody had the access to just be able to have social media like that. So I remember when if you made a diss track about somebody, it was local and it was in your city, and you were going to see this person at a show. So but now I think the internet has made it where these would be the same people who would be in comment sections with avies that you don't know who they are trolling. And they don't realize that that's not how this works. They can see you now. So like, don't just always think about that. Because the reason I bring that up is they're always the most gung-ho, ready to diss people, and it's like, I don't think you realize what that brings all the time. I've been in situations with no exaggeration, just because of my affiliation with some of these YouTube people, because I actually go outside. I actually go and do shows. I've had situations where I've had to explain stuff where it's never been like, I'm gonna have to fight. It's more like, nah, it's okay, this YouTube is like, aren't you one of them YouTube rap dudes? Like, I'm not gonna work with you because you guys be dissing, and you guys, I get thrown in the group. That's why I get so mad and I take things so personally, because I'm like, you guys don't understand what you do reflects us all. We all have this stigma that's YouTube rap. I've had a thing that a lot of people have been able to see me outside of the YouTube genre thing too, but I wear the YouTube badge proudly. I just would like the people to know that there is a variation in that. There is a genre of YouTube rap that cares about the music first, that cares about the message first. There are people who make music that girls can listen to also and not feel like this is awkward. There is that, and I feel like those people need more shine, but it's the people that those other people know how to trick the algorithm and stuff so they get seen. But there's people who can make the music and stuff like that. There's not too many of them I know, but there's like Moxis. That's a rapper on YouTube who makes great music. And I think I wouldn't even necessarily consider him a YouTube artist, but he does YouTube music a lot. Quidecca is another one. He's a big one. He does good music too. He dibbles in the rapping factor, but he does music outside of that. And there's people like that, but I feel like people like Moxis don't get as much light on YouTube as the Luke's, because Luke's gonna say death to mumble rap, and that's gonna galvanize all the weirdos that, yeah, yes, finally. It's almost becoming political, honestly. The more I think about it, the more that they're making rap like more political. It's more like, if as long as you're wearing the right colored tie, then and you say the right points, then boom, you're dope. It's just a formula. Like, it's weird.
And you're saying it at the right speed.
Yeah, as long as you that. That's what you have to have, the speed. You have to have the points. You got to sound like an auctioneer. The more you sound like an auctioneer, then boom, you're in there.